I mean,
that have high, like, you got to go get a quarterback hunter, and you need somebody that can match athleticism with those two guys, and that's something Abdul Carter can do. So, love the pick here for them. He was a second-rated player on my board, and just, to me, just a really fun player to watch because he is just a high-energy player. Now, I will tell you, I think this sets up a really interesting question moving forward with the New England Patriots. So the New England Patriots, they're projected to take a left tackle, right? All the mocks have them taking Will Campbell. What I think is interesting here is, from a value standpoint, if they get a phone call from a team like, say, the Chicago Bears, who say, we're going up for Jeanty. Guys, what do you need for us to go up there and get Ashton Jeanty before the Browns game? That would be an interesting haul for the Patriots, because it would allow them to potentially take that position that they want later at left tackle and stock up on picks, because that roster needs a lot of work.
But they spent a lot of money in this offseason. It will look better a season to go. But you're right, as we continue to reload here, once again, it is the New England Patriots that are on the clock. Just wanted to note here on Abdul Carter and Saquon Barkley, obviously that Penn State duo. The only top 3 draft selections by the Giants in the last 40 years that used to rock that Nittany Lions uniform. This dude's on cloud 9. Travis Hunter, the 2nd overall pick to the Jags. What the Patriots do, the answer to that's coming up next on Draft Center. Welcome back to Draft Center, presented by FedEx. The Patriots picking inside the top 5 in consecutive years after having 0 such picks, 95 to 2023. There's a look inside that draft room right now. We got a new sheriff in town, Vrabel. Bringing back the prodigal son of sorts.
Oh, okay.
Who the pick is?
You see it the front line? So you got Elliott and Ryan Carson in the same seat. Yeah.
We'll find out exactly who the selection is going to be. The pick is in as we take you back to Green Bay. Okay, we will not take you to Green Bay just yet. I thought we
Not it.
and the pick
It's
is
not all the way because we didn't see all the excitement.
the
yet.
high-fiving and the chest
Yeah, you
bumps.
got to make sure because every pick is a good pick in the world. Every pick. There's not one where you see people.
Never seen somebody collapse their head in their hands.
No.
Never seen that. I have when I've seen some of these picks. I've collapsed my head.
Every pick is a great pick tonight.
This will be a fun conversation coming up because I think the Patriots are really interested. Getting Vrabel back and trying to reset the Patriot way after it's it stumbled the last couple of years. This is going to be a fun time to watch and see what the Patriots can do throughout this draft.
And once again, a spending spree in this offseason. You saw the graphic there getting it done on the defensive side, also on the offensive side. Stephon Diggs. And yes, it is now official. And as we take it back to Green Bay.
With the 4th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Will Campbell, tackle, LSU.
It's the easy pick presented by Bud Light.
My God, look, if you go wear pinstripes like that, you got to be an absolute dog. Come on now. Come on now.
You felt like it was a layup here. Lance, you called it. Buck, you thought this was going to be the case.
I thought it absolutely was going to be the case, and I just love it because Will Campbell gives them exactly what they needed. They needed someone the short arms and all that, but I just know in the SEC, this dude was an absolute animal. You see it. Only 4 sacks allowed, over 1,500 plus snaps. He got that little swag to him, and I told you when I saw his first draft, I was all over it. Look, pass pro, the technique, firm hands, base, all that other stuff. Like, he's a clinic when it comes to pass protection. Now, in the run game, there can be some things that show up that you're like, man, I'd like to see a little more physicality, a little more nasty. But when it comes to passing, pass protection, he is that dude. And with Drake May, you're setting up the quarterback for success by having Will Campbell there.
First the good, his hands are like granite. When he hits guys, and I mean first contact as a run blocker and his punch and pass protection, it's like granite. The second thing is he has really elite agility and recovery ability. So when he gets beat, he can recover. I think, I do think the arms can come into play at times. The shorter arms, they can come into play. My dad was an NFL line coach, and he always told me, if guys say that, you ever hear somebody say that short arms don't matter, they don't coach offensive line. So, that is one of the concerns for him. It just means that he has to be really refined as it pertains to the timing of his punch and his hands. His feet have to be really good. There's still some areas of correction that need to be had in the pass pro for Will Campbell. But what he's got is a mentality that, Bucky mentioned it, the dog mentality. From what I understand, Mike Vrabel fell in love with him after he met him face to face. And so this was something that was kind of locked in because Vrabel loves him. It's a huge position to be, left tackle. But the other thing is, as a run blocker, he's a nasty run blocker with good finishing punch, and he's got these strong hands. So if he gets into you, you're cooked. Like, you're not getting away from those strong mitts.
You know what he got me? He got me when I saw the playlist today. They were talking about the walkout music. And because Lil Wayne is in the building, and he said, I'm coming out to right above it, I just know that Will Campbell is that dude. Will Campbell is about that business, and they need an attitude change in New England. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Give him a little wink before we squat that. Put some weight on our back. I'm just saying, people are sleeping on him. You don't wear a green pinstripe suit unless you got that in you. Yammer, you just don't do that.
There's a reason why I'm wearing gray and blue, so I just keep it in the middle of the fairway.
I'm just
trying to,
blue.
Yeah.
I'm just laying up on a par 5.
I've seen this happen with other teams, though, where they draft a guy highly thought of on that offensive line.
Yeah.
They take him to the top 5, top 10, and it doesn't pan out here. You guys talked about the arm length. I mean, this can set an organization back, too. You feel comfortable enough in what you've seen to say, you know what, this made sense for them?
Look, I have some concerns about the tackle class in general. But, it is a need, and you never want to be in this position where you're desperate. And Bucky, when it came right down to it, they have no left tackle. Miami's desperate at defensive line. When you become desperate, you're limited on who you can take and what you can do with your draft. And unfortunately, that's just where they are. They're just desperate, so they had to take the best tackle they could find in this spot. But, if it doesn't work out for him at tackle, I think he can easily swing down to guard. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
All right, we'll continue to track, obviously, what the Patriots are going to do in this draft. Let's get back to the biggest story thus far, and that was a trade that we saw a few minutes ago. The Jacksonville Jaguars moving up to the 2nd overall pick, and we saw the Browns move down to the 5th overall selection. I'm going to just throw it out there. Is this tailor-made for Genty at this point?
I think so. And, you know, Andrew Berry, who you see there, is the Browns general manager, huge in analytics, right? And the number one thing that he covets is productivity and future productivity. He likes college productivity, he likes future productivity. You know, the analytics crew, this is going to be interesting because if he takes Genty, that is the anti-analytics move, to take a running back in the 1st round. That's so anti-analytics, and yet I think it's a smart move because you can have control on the player contract for 5 years. Then you got another franchise year if you need it, and maybe a 2nd franchise year. That's 7 years with the running back. That's like having 2 contracts.
And at that point, it's like, all right, if there's maybe not tread left,
maybe done by that time.
Yeah, which is kind of a crazy way.
If it's Genty. If it's Genty.
Maybe it's not, but you told me he's one of the 3 elite players. We've seen 2 of them taken off the board with Cam and Abdul Carter. We find out if Ashton Genty is the pick for the Cleveland Browns as we take you back to Green Bay.
With the 5th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan.
All right.
Yes, he is a true analytics general manager because we don't take running backs in the 1st round.
Wow. I got to be honest with you, I didn't see this coming. Not that Mason Graham is not a supremely talented
Well, he's
player.
been every mock draft, he's been mocked to the 5th overall
pick. Overall pick. It wasn't this team, and I think that's what sort of clouded my judgment here. So you're not some bucks like, yo, did you see one of my 15 drafts on NFL.com? I had Mason Graham going 5th overall the entire time.
Well, here's my thing about Mason Graham. If you talk about the production and performance, if you are a film study nerd, this dude gets it done. Mason Graham is one of the dogs in this draft, and I know he's not going to win the beauty pageant when it talks about the arm and the prototypical dimensions and those that. But if we're talking about playing ball, there are not many that play ball like Mason Graham does.
High floor, not really. There's just really no bust potential to me. I mean, he's going to be, the question is he going to be good or is he going to be great? I think that's the question. There's a little bit of variance in NFL circles. What I see is a player, Bucky mentioned it all, gets off blocks really, really quickly, really well. Hands are extremely active. He's very quick off the ball. He plays with that leverage. You know, he's got the broad, strong build. I think that he doesn't give offensive linemen any snaps off. There's just no snaps off. And so because of that, if you don't finish him, he reignites. And that's how a lot of his sacks come. That's how his tackles come. He reignites the embers and can make plays if you don't finish him as a blocker.
Top Browns draft pick last year, Michael Hall out of Ohio State. He got taken in that 2nd round. Now it's Graham. Talking about a Michigan dude that's out there on the same line with Garrett and a wrestler as well.
Forget about it. We love the wrestlers.
So I'm going to throw this out there because I think, Lance, you said something. The conversation of the question is good or great. It's easy to be great when you're coming in as a rookie. Miles Garrett's also on that line, right? Like, that'll help ease some of the focus for you.
Good point. And we talked, Bucky, about we thought that it could be, well, I've talked about Abdul Carter over there at times with Cleveland, thinking, well, with Abdul Carter, you stick him with Myles Garrett. And even though your offense isn't where it needs to be, it's easier to win games if the other team can't score a lot of points because you're in their backfield all the time. This isn't the defensive end position. It's not the rush position on the edge, but it is another defensive lineman. So it's the same concept of building your defensive front.
All right, to be abundantly clear here, we started our coverage referencing some of Bucky's mock drafts. And how many did you do? 27 mock drafts or something along those lines? The point is, I felt like on every single one that I saw that hit on NFL.com that we talked about on Mock Draft Live, at 6, it was Genty. It felt like every single time.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, look, I think I'm 5 for 5 based on the thing. I think I'm 5 for 5. I would love to go 6 for 6.
There was no way they pass on him, is there?
Right?
Well, no, I mean, what about the big guy from Texas? Like, just being able to kick. Like, we got to be in the offensive line. We got to be in the trenches, right?
Are we
Well, Pete Carroll, man, on a run back.
I mean,
like
Pete Carroll loves that. I mean, Marshawn Lynch. And all that. Like, I mean, that kind of fits the identity. But I don't know.
Tell you what, I don't know if I want to be two teams passing on Ashton Jeanty. I understand he's a running back, but this is a tricky one because Kelvin Banks, as you were mentioning, you were referring to Kelvin Banks. They need tackle help. It's a deep running back draft, and it's a kind of a weak tackle draft. So this will be interesting.
I can't. Seriously, I just find it hard to believe we're going to be talking about a Raiders team, considering some of the issues they had on the offensive side a year ago with a Pete Carroll new regime in there, where we saw the Marshawn Lynches of the world, Zach Charbonnet more recently, and they focus their offense on what happens in that backfield. I get it, Geno's there at this point, but you're right, we don't know. We thought it was going to be this last pick with the Cleveland Browns. That wasn't the case. What is it going to be as we take you to Green Bay and officially get the pick?
With the 6th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Ashton Jeanty, running back, Boise State.
You said one of the elite players. Your comp was LT.
Yeah, he's my favorite running back I've seen since Saquon Barkley. Let me tell you what I love about Ashton Jeanty. He's a bell cow back, right? You want to give it to him a ton, you can give it to him a ton. He can create in 3 ways. The great Kirby Wilson, running back coach, once told me, you want guys that can create with speed, with elusiveness, with power. He can do all those 3 things. Reminiscent of our guy Maurice Jones-Drew, who had speed. He's got that low, he's built low to the ground with a broad base. But when you watch Ashton Jeanty, what stands out is he's very tough to get solid contact on. Even when you do, the feet never stop. So he just seems to bounce off. It's like 2 magnets, Jam. You know, when you try to put the same sides together and
I did that for hours as a kid. I was very easily entertained.
I know. Well, and it's just like that when you try to tackle him. It's like a repellent. He just refuses to be tackled. When you do get a shot on him, you're going to take most of it. He's usually the hammer, and you're usually going to be the nail. He finishes through contact, and he scores a ton of touchdowns. He is one of the favorite running backs that I've ever studied, because in the middle of it, I'm thinking the offensive line's just kind of average, and this guy's just going to war every snap.
Explosive after explosive after explosive.
9 out of 14 games, Bucky, he had 50 or more yard run.
I mean, look, you're not only talking about the explosions. I think it's the workhorse ability. 9 games where he had 30 or more carries. 19 games where he had 20 or more carries in the last 2 seasons. We don't see that in the National Football League anymore, that workhorse running back. So when people make those comparisons to LaDainian Tomlinson, they talk about Frank Gore. You talk about every down backs that, look, man, they live and breathe it. They can run it, they can tote it, they get better in the 4th quarter. When you think about the Raiders and Pete Carroll was one of the few coaches back when the league was a passing league. They were running more than passing. You want to set Geno Smith and that offense up for success? Put a star running back in the backfield, feed him, and then allow the offense to work through the running back, not the quarterback.
He's Tecmo Bowl all over again. You couldn't play her, just 3 years of college football. That's a lot of tread they pulled off the tires last year. So he's a bell cow back, but I don't think you want to go too crazy. I think you want to have a secondary back there and bring him along at a reasonable pace. But it's going to be tough because he's just so good.
We're going to have Secretariat just trotting around. Hey, man, we get Secretariat. We want to ride her. We want to go. That's the whole point of getting a thoroughbred. We want to make sure we can get a Clydesdale. Yeah. We can get a Clydesdale back him up, but we want to make sure the Secretariat is able to go.
Yeah. You get the 911, you're not coasting.
No.
You got to punch it a little bit.
No,
right?
we want to punch it, and he gives them that workhorse runner that they need. It's easy to set the offense off of him.
You know what else? The play action. And I was prepared to talk about this for Trevor Lawrence when I thought Jacksonville was going to get him. When you were this good offensively, when you're this powerful, and you're this, and you hit these 50-yard carries, like I said, 9 out of 14 games this year, he had a 50-yard or more carry. 9 out of 14. In some games, he had more than 1. You know what that does for the passing game and play action? I mean, safeties are buzzing down. Geno Smith's job just got a lot easier, provided they get some wide receivers and offensive tackles. It got a lot easier because the play action is going to be a real factor.
I think back to Pete Carroll's press conference when he got introduced. He said, we're not far away. This team can win right now. This pick of Ashton Jeanty proves that is probably the case. The Jets, they're on the clock. They got their quarterback in Justin Fields. It's going to be offensive line for him. The pick is right for them.
Damn, you did the ice bucket challenge?
Huh?
Damn, you did the ice bucket challenge?
What?
Never mind, you don't get the joke. Why
Do I really do?
do you look like that?
Because I'm crying.
Why?
Saying I'm not crying.
Why?
I'm not crying, it's just my eyes are watering.
So much longer.
I swear I was sneezing too.
Somebody. Oh, my fucking nose keep itching. Like, my shit ain't bad.
I don't know where to get my earbuds from.
I know where to get them from.
Where?
Me.
No, I don't want your earbuds. I want the little ones.
They're too big for your ears.
You said my ears are too big or they're too big?
They're too big for your ears.
But, yeah.
Back here on Draft Center, it is presented by FedEx along with North Carolina. Looks I'm like, yeah, yes, the pick is in for the Jets. Does it feel obvious when you all look like
These
big
are
fellas?
expensive. Why are they so expensive? Like, they're not
Talking
even
about Tommy
that cool no more.
Working in the field, but if you want to play, you want to be physical at the point of attack. AG just came from Detroit, where they maul people at the point of attack. If you're gonna play bully ball, you gotta have some bullies.
Yeah.
They need more bullies at the point of attack.
Yeah,
Yes.
they don't have a true starting right tackle. They don't have that on the roster, so it would make some sense. One of the two tackles over there, but that's a good point. Aaron Glenn came from a team that really prioritized offensive line, and look at how it's paid off for the Lions.
It's been huge for Detroit, especially with Dan Campbell there. We'll see if the Jets try to mimic that as we take you.
Hey.
But
With the seventh pick
the
in the
seventh pick in the
2025
2025
draft,
NFL draft,
the New York
the
Jets
New York
select
Jets select
Armand Membu,
Armand Membu.
Missouri, tackle.
Nigga, we need to trade up, bro. Like, what the fuck? What about
Forget
Snoop Dogg?
he's
Not
on
bad.
his way to the Big Apple, guys.
You gotta like this. We talked about what Aaron
What
Glenn
about
from
some
his time
AirPods,
with
but you don't want to buy
being
small
able
stuff?
to run the ball and dominate at the point of attack really allowed the Detroit Lions to unlock various parts of their offense. You talk about Jared Goff and the question mark he was coming in there. But when they surrounded him with a dominant offensive line that allowed his game to go to the next level. And Justin Fields, you're trying to do similar things. But to do it, you got to set the foundation up front. If you want to play bully ball, we talked about it. You have to have bullies. Armand Membu has some of that bully in his game.
Yeah, he's just recently turned 21. I really like him. He's my favorite tackle in this draft. And one of the reasons is because I see what he is now and what he's going to be. He's got really good stick and sustain as a run blocker. He's got strong hands. He's got the ability to get out in space and spring runs because he can get to the second level and make blocks.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Zone blocking, which requires a lot of movement. And you see right there, he just reached down
Yo.
to the edge.
He said
Made
fat.
it easy, soften the edge for his running back. But what I like about him is I think he's pretty
Twin-
strong. He's
two twin
330
white girl
pounds.
sisters.
I think he's a powerful guy. I don't think he'll have any problems fitting into a gap scheme as well. So he can zone it up. He's got gap scheme. He's got a little
Oh, I thought
nastiness
you
to
said
him.
it. Never
And in
mind.
pass protection, you know, he is going to get outreached some. He's only a 33.5-inch arm guy. You see it on tape. He gets outreached.
Yeah, no,
He's
never
crafty
mind.
with
What's
the
on your
stance.
neck, though?
He uses very pass sets. So
never
he's
seen
already,
that.
I think, ahead of the game at age 21. Very good offensive line coach over there at Missouri. I think he's set up for success with the Jets.
You know, I think it was you, Bucky, who made reference to playing Aaron Glenn in Detroit. Let's not forget Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. Back in 2021, Quinn Sewell with the 7th overall. Similarities when we talk about that tackle. Meanwhile, Carolina Panthers. Bucky picking Detroit for the pick.
Why you time out? The niggas timed out Young Jock. Understandable. Yeah, nigga timed out Young Jock. I wish I could stream on TikTok, bruh. Oh, we the viewers busting. Let's go. Oh my soul, oh my soul. Oh my soul, oh my soul. Wait, it's not showing on here. Where's your dad at?
Sleeping in his room. Why are you asking where my dad's at?
Because you're on the phone with me.
Oh.
Maybe that's why.
Oh, my dad's been leaving at 6 o'clock and like getting home late, so he's because he's one who delivers the flowers to all the stores that
Yeah.
Mike.
Back here on Draft Center, presented by FedEx. Pete Carroll. Oh, let's go. Yeah, you should be fired up. Action Genty, the selection, heading to Vegas. He goes about 600 miles south of Boise. Not too far from that fan base. Watch him play at Allegiant Stadium. Time for Salutes to Service, presented by USAA. Earlier this month, official NFL Salute to Service partner USAA invited NFL draft prospects Ashton Genty and Jalen Milko, Air National Guard base in Milwaukee, to experience a day in the life of active duty military, including pilot training in a flight simulator. USAA and the NFL say thank you to those who stand ready to defend our nation. Have a cool experience to check out what Genty and some of those guys do in that pre-draft workout. But I am looking right now at the Carolina Panthers, who are on the clock. I felt like, hey, if you wanted a quarterback, this might be a spot where you try to move up. Said that to you guys in the break, and both of us. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
It'd be great to move out. I just don't know who would move up for.
Yeah, that's where we're at. Like we talked about all the blue chip players. All the blue chip players, with the exception of Tyler Warren and maybe Coach Loveland.
Yeah.
They're off the board. So normally you won't move up unless you feel like there's a blue chip player that you have to have.
Kind of interesting if that's your guys' take, because we are talking about the 8th overall.
Yeah, we're done. We're done with blue chippers.
Yeah, we're done with blue chippers, and this has been a defensive end in all the mock drafts. But do they have one that they covet at 8? We'll find out, because they still could use a tackle.
Let's take it to Green Bay.
With the 8th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Teteroa McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona.
Oh, he a dog there, Mike.
Here we go. I talked to a very good friend of mine around that Panthers organization this morning. I said, hey, man, like, which way are we going? He said, oh, it could go in a couple different directions here. And at the very end of the conversation, he goes, you know, kind of talking about that wide receiver room, maybe there's a fit here. And I immediately perked up. The range for Tet McMillan, though, Lance, you know this, kind of all over.
All over. And this was, to me, the hardest team to project. Because it's not a clean defensive end feel and fit over with the players who are on the board right now. When you get Tet McMillan, when you get Teteroa McMillan, T-Mac as they call him, you're getting somebody who is really incredible in the air. Just absolutely a basketball player in the air. He's tall, he's rangy, he can play over the top of pretty much any quarterback. He's got great timing, which you have to have as a basketball rebounder. And, you know, the catch radius is... The highlight reels from the 23 tape is off the charts. 24 was good. 23 is incredible. He's very smooth. He makes it look easy. Sometimes I think it's held against him. And sometimes he does coach the lucky. Sometimes he doesn't drive out in the drive phase and put some fear in the cornerbacks. And I think that's something that needs to get coached into.
It needs to get coached into him, but Dave Canales came from where? Tampa. Who's the #1 receiver in Tampa? Mike Evans. you can say that maybe Dave Canales is looking at Ted McMillan's tape and saying, guys, I've seen this before. We had a lot of success in Tampa with a big body playmaker who excelled at winning jump balls, who had 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Oh, we're going to get T-Mac. And don't underestimate the fact that when everyone is talking about Ted McMillan and kind of like the California cool, where's the quarterback from? California, SoCal. So when we talk about the energy, the relationship, and all that, and remember this, Bryce Young played at Marta Day. T-Mac played at Servite. They're in the same league. There's some crossover in terms of interacting with each other. To me, that matters.
We're not
Relationships matter.
That's not a real team. It's not a real team. Not a real team.
How does it what?
Xavier Legette, who they took last year, took
Well,
that room.
Legette is more of a bully wide receiver. I mean, he's one you want to get between the hashes, and he's going to make those tough. I think what McMillan's going to do is try to stretch the field a little bit. He runs in the 4.5s. He's fast enough, but once he gets down the field, unless you have a double team, it's an advantage for him all the time. So I think you want him playing, the Z, and then you get, I would think, and then you have Xavier playing the X. I don't know how they want to do it, but I think they're complementary receivers. I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Remember, Dave Canales came from where? He came from Tampa, so he had Chris Godwin, and he had Mike Evans. So now the Carolina Panthers have basically recreated their wide receiver room. And remember, they had a competitive quarterback. They had an undersized quarterback in Baker Mayfield. They had those two big guys at Tampa, now in Carolina. Undersized quarterback, big bodies on the perimeter. He basically just taking the cheat code from Tampa Bay. He took that playbook on Madden and said, hey, we're just going to put this under Carolina, we're going to go to work.
That's all he did.
5 months ago, if you told me that T-Mac was going to be the first wide receiver taken off the board, I would have been like, oh, okay. Last couple weeks, I don't know if I would have said that.
Yammer, this is what you got to do. Lance will tell you, Yammer in January, put your pen down. Put your notebook in the drawer and leave it alone. Because what happens, we end up going on this long roller coaster and we come right back to where it is.
Yeah.
Because
it happens all
everybody that we love at the end of the season, we end up loving them. And look, here's the volleyball stuff. People talk about it. They didn't get enough talk about
Can
it.
you imagine being on the other end of that?
He's a legitimate volleyball player, so playing above the rim. Got that nastiness in that dog thing. Hey, look, don't let the spoon taste food. T-Mac has some dog in him. It just doesn't come out because he's nice, but don't be fooled. This dude can play. He's an animal. He was an animal in high school, continued being a dog, but he was in Arizona. He is going to be a dog for the Carolina Panthers.
He could have played 100% indoor volleyball at Arizona. 100%.
No
Like,
question.
you see him skying above it?
There was a meet the parents moment that was just about to happen on that volleyball.
Yeah.
Like that was about to get really, really nasty there. All right, I had speculated, like who am I, right, to speculate that, hey, maybe Carolina would try to move that. Maybe we'd be having a quarterback conversation. That clearly didn't happen. They get an offensive weapon in T-Mac here. There's been so much speculation about what the Saints are going to do with the 9th overall pick. We know Derek Carr banged up. He's not going to be able to start the season. Kellen Moore, an offensive-minded coach, now takes over. What's the direction that this team should be leading into?
I mean, listen, they haven't been happy with Trevor Penny. And so you've got a potential tackle sitting there in Kelvin Banks. And that would, I know there's been a lot of talk about Michael Williams, the defensive end. Jalen Walker is now on the board now, so you have some defensive ends that you could take a look at. Jalen Walker is kind of in that Zach Vaughn mold, if you really want to know the truth. He didn't work out there, but he sure worked out in Philadelphia.
Yeah, to be
to play linebacker and edge.
To be Kellen Moore's first pick. Offensive-minded coach, normally you kind of lean to your baby, want to get it right. The Derek Carr situation, without knowing a lot, you just wonder how do you build that offense if Derek Carr is there or if he's not there.
One of the more intriguing picks is the Saints at number 9. Here's the answer.
To me, on what, Twitch?
Yeah.
Nobody follow you on Twitch.
With the 9th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Kelvin Banks Jr., tackle, Texas.
Oh, do you know how Twitch works, bro?
First team all SEC. This is a dude who's had 42 career starts, all at left tackle.
Yeah, and I tell you what, my favorite game of his was his freshman season when he went up against Will Anderson and shut Will Anderson down. And I was at that game in Austin, and it was really, really impressive. Now, what I'd like to see is him get better and better and better.
No,
I think
no,
he's kind of
no.
stagnated a little bit as a pass protector, but he's gotten substantially better as a run blocker. He's got some good dip in his
That's
hips.
why them niggas can
He
hear you
can
on
really
here.
get into blocks with some force. He strains
Everybody to
through
screen.
contact as a run blocker. We voted them into one of the. They were one of our finalists in the Joe Moore Awards for the best offensive line in college football. One of the reasons
They said, what's her-
is this guy, Kelvin
what's her
Benson, did
Instagram?
such a good job of
Oh,
run
yeah.
blocking, I thought, for that offense.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all for real.
There are some holes. He doesn't have the longest arms either.
I'll give y'all the
And
address,
sometimes
too.
He's a little too passive, and he lets the pass rushers Bucky get into him, and
Catches rather than go.
you can't catch. You know, he's not a puncher. Will Campbell is a puncher. He's a catcher. You can't do that with long arm attacks.
Man, the only thing about Kelvin Banks, when we talk about that, we can talk about like picking apart. Athletically, yes, he's a high end player. And when you're looking at the position and you're looking at the feet and the typewriter stuff, he fits Kellen Moore because Kellen Moore, as much as he was able to run the field, Kellen Moore wants to throw the ball. He wants to throw the ball 35 times a game. And so you have to have a premier pass protector to be able to do it.
Just sharpen that
Banks
hand in the morning.
has the footwork and the athleticism and the agility to be able to kind of be that dancing bear that we shadow box in here.
All right, you mentioned his time, obviously, most
shower
recently
tonight
winning the
and in the
Super Bowl with
morning.
the Eagles. I'll take it even a step back with the Dallas Cowboys. How do you think that those moments and those experiences shaped this pick here?
I think so. I mean, look, you got to have an offensive line to do it. If you are a creative play designer, you know that the offensive line is there. You can't get to the sexy part of your play sheet if your quarterback is always on the ground. This gives them a chance to really get to be super creative when it comes to the play design.
It's at
Before we
7
get to
o'clock.
the
You
Chicago
literally
Bears
said
pick, let's take you out to Green
never
Bay
run
right
this
now for a very special announcement from Colin Wolfe and Laura Rutledge.
NFL fans everywhere, hold on to your hats because boy, do we have an announcement for you, live from the heart of the NFL Draft right here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's right, Colleen. This schedule release marks a pivotal moment in the NFL calendar. It sets the stage for a thrilling season. Yeah, this is where we get to geek out over every single game and bye week, the primetime revenge and rematches, those late season divisional games that end up deciding playoff spots. And
Man.
who's playing at Lambeau in December? Ooh, we're gonna have to find out. You'll find out soon, okay? How about these rookies, the players who are drafted here tonight? When and where do they make their NFL debuts? We're gonna find that out as well. Let's not forget the expanding lineup of international
trying to
games
see
as
what
well as
27 gonna be,
Christmas,
guys.
Thanksgiving Day. There's so many captivating matchups. It's the best. Yes, because nothing says holiday cheer like watching your team destroy another. So, without further ado, everybody, get it together, mark your calendars, set your alarms.
Nigga,
the
who?
schedule will be dropped on bum, May 14th. There we go. Lock it in. We can't wait. You can tweet it out, tell everybody, and don't miss it. Be sure to check out all the great content from the NFL team sites, the club's social channels around the schedule release. Tune into NFL Network as well as ESPN. So much full coverage of the thrilling 2025 matchups. May 14th just around the corner. I know. It's basically here at this point. Guys, get
Someone's
ready and
calling
buckle
your
up
name.
for the greatest season of your lives.
Who's calling my name is yelling at those people outside.
Let's call a spade here. You and I had the same reaction. Take out the phone, start
Yeah,
putting it into the calendar.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm busy on the 14th.
That's officially a work day.
Draft's over for me. I'm done.
Work hard enough
no
going
vacations.
on the evaluation. Meanwhile, the Chicago Bears on the clock right now, still waiting to figure out who the official pick is going to be. You can see inside that draft room, we do have some smiles.
pretty
We
happy.
speculate, hey, maybe they move up. They don't. They sit at number 10, and here's the pick.
Damn, I know that nigga was. Damn.
Yesterday, the NFL family lost a true legend, Bears Hall of Famer Steve McMichael. My heart is with the McMichael family during this incredibly difficult time.
Call the
Misty,
police, dude.
please know that you are in our thoughts and prayers.
Because they probably all got warned or
Mongo's
something.
remarkable contributions to the game and the community will never be forgotten. His legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. 50 years ago, with the 4th pick in the 1975 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears selected one of Stephen Michaels' teammates and closest friends, Walter Payton, running back, Jackson State.
I just want to go home.
Walter would go on to rush for nearly 17,000 yards and 110 touchdowns over 13 seasons, all with the Chicago Bears. As you heard earlier, the NFL continues to honor Sweetness not only for his performance and excellence on the field, but also his commitment to give back to his community with the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award. So with the 10th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan.
One of the explosive players of the draft. First time the Bears have taken a first-round tight end since Greg Olsen back in 2007. Buck.
Go blue. So Colston Loveland goes ahead of Tyler Warren. There's a lot of people that are going to be shocked by that. But if you really dig into the tape, it comes down to fit and what you like. Remember, Ben Johnson comes from Detroit where they had Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta was a little different coming out of Iowa because he was a pass-catching, playmaking tight end. This guy can do it all. I have him categorized as a flex tight end, meaning he is a jumbo wide receiver. He can line up in the slot, he can go out wide, he can do all those things. But he still has that Michigan toughness that enables him to eventually be a wide tight end. Great pass catcher. And as we're building this offense to elevate Caleb Williams, you have a dominant player over the middle of the field. It should really work for the rest of them.
Look, as a pass catcher, he's above Tyler. I think where Tyler Warren has him, and just barely, is the blocking. But he's a lot like Tyler. He's a lot like Tyler, I think. Very similar body types, very similar release into the routes, same type of ability to separate. You see him right here. Look at this ability to separate. And that's what stands out about Colston Loveland when you watch him. It's the fast routes. He's able to uncover underneath, which is kind of rare for tight ends. But he's got that wiggle that is, allows him to uncover on all 3 levels. He's got good speed, good shiftiness underneath, and I think he tries as a blocker. He's getting better. Very few tight ends come into the league ready to block. You just want to know if they're willing, and Colston Loveland is willing to block.
Yeah, that player comparison brought to you by Accenture. I also think about Ben Johnson, what he had in Detroit and Sam Laporta, the similarities there. We saw what the Jets were doing. We're having an offensive lineman. You think about what Detroit had when Aaron Glenn was there. I can't help but think that Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator with the Lions, might be thinking the same thing.
Yeah, your wife and I took a little quick draft break. It was December when I watched it. We were in Georgia, and we were in a hotel, little bed and breakfast, and I said, well, I still got to bring the tape. We can go, but I gotta watch. I gotta get 3 things done today. And I watched Colston Loveland. I remember it was a Friday night. I turned it on. I watched Colston Loveland. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? I said, I'm watching Colston Loveland is what I'm doing. This guy is really, really good. And I'd already written up Tyler Warren, and I finished with Colston Loveland, and I thought, there's not a huge difference between these 2 players. They're actually different. One's more of a combination wide, and one is more of a pass-catching tight end. So I remember, it's one of those things, I remember where I was when I watched Colston Loveland take.
Very romantic journey to the bed.
I thought so.
What do you mean you don't know? You go to school?
She's a football fan. She understood.
She gets it. That's definitely big. The San Francisco 49ers on the clock. Get you the pick coming up next on Draft Center.